Oh yes, legend. Sorry about that. I don't know what the heck I did. The window suddenly disappeared and I couldn't get it back. Anyway, let's go right away through what we were talking about. Okay, I won't do an intro or any of that nonsense. We're just going to keep it as, man, every time I come to the studio, I'm having some issues. The mouse is crap. The mouse is crap. The microphone is crap. Here we are. Okay, we're back. Okay, let's see if we do get those people rejoining again. We've left them hanging. Anyway, for this scenario, let's go right away. Legends, my man, great, we're back. Yes, sir. Swipe the like button, smash it up, guys. I'm not going to be too fussy about the like button today. Granny's setup wasn't good, exactly. Anyway, we'll leave it where we were at, okay? And we will continue with this scenario, okay? Because we're just getting the setup ready here, okay? Literally getting a bit of a setup scenario. Which is this one, right? This is what I would prefer to see to get into the short. Shorting right now in this uptrend momentum, no big consolidation. I want to try and detect here a little wave 4. I wouldn't say that this is enough. For me, this would not be enough to consider a local double top. A little bit longer, just because if we are labeling this wave 2, you know, this would be extremely shallow for that wave 4, right? And then this, you know, I mean, technically it could happen where you just get that push up. This was a very, very shallow, small little wave 4. And now we get that movement up to claim the highs, 107.5. I would have preferred a little bit of a longer range. Okay, a little bit of a longer range throughout the next coming hours and then move up. That's what I would label here nicely as a potential wave 4. If we do come up from here, I mean, we are up trending. So it's not going to be a tricky, it's not going to be an easy short. But yeah, you could definitely just, you know, this could definitely be the wave 4. It is a little bit quick in time. I would like this to develop and go slightly more to the downside, give or take $1,000, still consolidate, and then ultimately look for that push to the upside, right? We are downtrending. The movement up still doesn't look convincing, but in a nutshell, I mean, this could literally continue the momentum, right? There's no reason to believe if we continue pumping here that this is going to stop unless we get this little bit longer correction and then that movement up to label this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would still be too shallow to consider as a wave 4 for me anyway. So why are we speculating on this scenario? It's bullish, we're going higher, right? You know, or maybe the bears are going to say, well, it's just going to roll over. We are downtrending. The movement up doesn't look convincing as of yet to believe that we're going to go to much higher levels, right? So we need to label the possibility of this scenario. Right? We need to label the possibility for this scenario to develop in the next coming days. And, you know, I'm not here to be right or wrong or say exactly as predicted. We are here to plan an accurate entry point with good risk management. And we realize the projections and how the price, you know, how it would be nice for me for it to develop to consider the wave structure here. Okay, so if the price continues from here and pumps and breaks above that naked point of control and you know, the value area low of this trading zone of October, I have to accept that, guys, you know, it's bullish. We're breaking out, you know, there's no reasons to get into a short. Not even here, not even breaking through the levels. So for this particular scenario, for me, it is crucial to see that little wave 4 consolidation. We are just about to hit those recent highs of today. I would say it would be an aggressive double top. It would be an aggressive double top here. Momentum is bullish throughout the last few days. Little shallow consolidation. Double top for me here is just not an option. It's not an option. As explained, if I want to label this as your wave A, your wave B, and your wave C is getting formed right now, I need to see 1, 2, 3, a pretty solid 4, similar in time to the wave 2, right? This is like really, really small. So double top is a little bit risky here to consider this being a small little wave 4, right? And wave 5, either double top or hit the naked point of control and then get rejected from here. So, I mean, you can definitely attempt it. I just think it's a little bit shallow for a fourth wave internally here for this ABC move. So, yeah, it would have been nice. Still could be a little bit of a flat scenario, right? Where you do come down, sweep up the lows, and then move up. That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting for me to consider the short trade, either in double top or the naked point of control of last Monday rejection. That would be my guideline. If you trade above it, flip it as support, we go higher. If you trade above it and lose it, that is the short trigger, right? We would be looking for that rollover with this entire speculation of a larger ABC, right? So this is how, this is how we need to adapt to internal day trade setups, right? We understand we could break through. I understand that we can double top after forming this wave 4 internally of the wave C, right? In a wave 5 after the fourth wave. So coming into big resistance, right? Which is at the 107 to 108K zone, give or take a few $100s for volatility. But we need that rejection from this zone for me to consider the short position. And, regardless if it is going to be the naked point of control, or it might wick up to 108.8K, 108.2K, which is this lower high, it could still have that fake attempt of getting inside of the value area of the range of October. It got a big high volume node just slightly above here at around about 108.2K, which is with that lower high. That lower high is also, I would consider, as a swing failure pattern level. Why is this a good swing failure pattern level if it's just a little lower high? Well, that's when you put everything together. You got a high volume node right over here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. Yeah, you got that high volume node right over here with that lower high, with the possibility of forming that last fifth wave here. So, everything aligns that could be a good swing failure pattern level if the price stretches its legs another $1,700, right, from current price level to get to 108.2. So these levels should be guidelines. You trade above it, you're not interested in the short. You trade above the naked point of control unless you reject. You do not snipe a trade with stop loss at the high. You get above it and you get above this level, there's no short. Though you reject from that level, that's your entry trigger, stop loss at the high. Give or take a bit of room. And the good thing about this is that this zone does reject aggressively in the next coming days. I mean, look no further, right? We are potentially projecting a move down all the way to the lows here. We're going to go through the bullish case scenario right now, which is literally just climbing up in the next coming days. Okay, so we'll be talking about that as well. It's not all bears, it's bulls. Overall, we've been interested throughout videos, yesterday's video update, that guys, this movement, could it be a double 1-2? Absolutely, it can. It doesn't look great, but it can. And are we developing a wave 3 at the moment? So far, we're not seeing much volume coming in, so we can interpret that as a bit of a weak pump, right? It's a little bit of a weak pump, let's be honest. You want to see price moving, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, right? Get up, come on, climb up. with volume, get those breakouts from those resistance. That's not happening as of yet. So we just need to be a little bit cautious. And this is why, shorting this plan, as explained, getting to the levels of interest on the rejection can be very lucrative, because at the end of the day, the projection is clear. You need to reject either from the double top locally. If you break above it, you're searching for the naked point of control at 107.5. You need that rejection to have your stop loss. You need to get above it and below it to trigger the position, speculating that this move up is a corrective move and we are still in the C wave, potentially forming the fourth wave and getting that fifth wave. That's what I would like to see coming into resistance, and reject at one of these guideline levels, because the projection is clear. It's coming back down to the lows. So I mean, this would be the setup here, understanding that we are downtrending. Okay, we're downtrending, so a lower high can be speculated on. This is a huge level of resistance, value area low from the range of October here. Naked point of control from last Monday. Got a high volume node from this little consolidation that hasn't been tested. Another lower high based on a contracting diagonal to claim the lows again. Tick. Okay, you start building up scenarios that could happen, and that's where you go through the lower time frame to really see what would be the ideal scenario when to get in here. What would be the ideal scenario, right? All of this is education and explanation on how you really, when you get to a zone of interest, that's when you zoom in on the 15-minute time frame, right? You start looking at the lower time frames and you're like, okay, how did we come up here from this pivot? If this is not a 1-2, 1-2, and you're developing the third wave, which should be, stretching its legs aggressively to then 4-5, 4-5, right? Go to much higher levels. And this is your, literally, you have this scenario from this higher low. If this is not going to push to higher levels and it forms this rangy structure to then claim the highs, it's your point of failure. Look no further. I mean, it's the fifth wave is the point of failure to get the move down. The fifth wave at resistance areas is the point of failure. And obviously that's when you look for the rollover. So, it either breaks up from here. It would very, very hard, very small consolidation to label this as a wave 4 at the moment, I would say. So it is a bit of aggressive short if you take out the recent highs and you reject. But I mean, it's always an option. If it does reject from recent highs, it gives you an entry. You can be defensive as soon as you move down. It might be the one. If you break up and maintain above that level, you just don't want to short. You're looking for the next major resistance zone, which is the naked point of control. If that fails, you got an entry. You got a stop loss at the high. It could be the one that actually starts rolling over in the next couple of days. So you get the point here, right? We just don't know if the price is going to push and break the levels here in the next coming hours. But we know the weaknesses that there are. The structure developed in the last few days can be labeled as an ABC. We are forming lower highs throughout the last 1 to 2 weeks. Internally here, we come into this resistance zone. Internally, we can map this situation as a 3-waver. The third wave from the last higher low is possibly still developing in a 5-wave move. And this would be the sweet spot. Detect that 5-waver on the 15-minute throughout the next coming hours to see the weak point, right? Fifth wave is your weak point. That's where you want to see one of the resistance confluent zones fail to break, which we have a couple of them, of course, right? 107.5 is your best zone here. Obviously, the most aggressive one is an internal local double top, which is, I would class as aggressive, right? I would still even not label all of this as a wave 4. This could be a flat structure. You double top here, claim the local lows, and then you get the fifth wave, right? And this could be labeled as your wave 4. That would be, that would be much better based on timing. But we don't always get what we want, right? So, yeah, that's what I would want to see anyway, guys. Okay, keeping it clear. Still range for a little bit. Complete that wave 4, and then without overlapping this pivot, then obviously, look for that 5th wave to fail. It's literally looking for the 5th wave to fail, giving you an entry, giving you a stop loss, and giving you a projected move down to the lows. Now let's cover the bullish case. Longing all the way up here, then, not the greatest option, right? Don't want to long up here. Am I putting stop here, stop here? Not really the greatest option, considering that, I want to see a wave 4 here and then a wave 5. That would be ideal. But let's be honest, maybe this is the high. Maybe this is the high already. So to get into a long, you want to long the pullbacks, right? Sign of support. And the biggest support zone here, speculating on the bullish case locally, guys, we're talking about local price action. We can zoom out and talk about the different scenarios. Zooming out on the bullish case, yeah, we can do that right now, actually. Zooming out on the 4 hourly. Bullish case scenario, with the idea that we can get to 116K in the next 1 to 2 weeks, give or take, is looking for that flat move at the end of the day, right? Looking for that rally to get all the way up to 116K potentially. Why is this pattern possible? This was explained as well, just as this one right over here from the all-time high rejection in August, where we have, this was a clear 3-waver, guys. We were talking about this is corrective. We're likely going to hit all-time high in the next coming weeks. When we formed this movement here, it was highly corrective. There was nothing impulsive or motive in this zone. Not even multiple 1-2s was available here to count. So the speculation of this ABC flat here comes with, this what happened here, where you had a 3-wave down, a 3-wave up, and then a very aggressive move down eventually, right? So this can be also inside of this zone over here. We could be forming a flat structure here as well, inverted eventually, because you started with the 3-wave up instead of 3-wave down. So 3-wave up is pretty damn clear here in this movement. For the moment, it is clear for a 3-wave down as well. If you look at speculation on a 5-wave down here, which you can fit it, however, your wave 4 is extremely long and your wave 5 is the longest wave, which is uncommon as well. If you wanted to fit a 5-wave move here, your wave 4 is extremely longer than your wave 2, which is very, very small here. So that decreases the scenario that this is an impulse. Very, very low probability that this is a 5-wave move with an expanding 5th wave and, a wave 4 that is 5 times longer than your wave 2 here, right? So this scenario is low probability, right? But that would be with the general idea that you're forming a wave 1, wave 2, wave 1, wave 2, and then you nuke down. I think this is low probability at the moment, and just not. Could you consider? Yes, you always need to consider the bearish case, but it has low probability because this is not the, it's not one of those structures that you would label as a 5-wave move down. So what fits better is a 3-waver. This 3-waver is coming to the common B-wave target of an expanding flat, which is very interesting. This is what it is holding when we consider Fibonacci. When you get the length of your A wave, which has been a three-wave move to the upside. There's nothing bullish about this move. It's a very corrective. You know, we were talking about expanding diagonal and a flat here. It's like, yeah, good luck with that, right? It doesn't look good for the bullish case. Eventually it wasn't, right? We did claim the low later on. So the bullish case here was low probability, unfortunately, and high probability that this was corrective. So in a nutshell here, three-wave up, three-wave down. This three-wave down is coming to the common B-wave flat target, which is in between the 1236 and the 1382 from the length of your A wave, which is literally where we bounced in the last few days. So, I mean, there is a pretty interesting bullish case, but it doesn't seem too promising for the moment as the price is developing. With this ABC flat, you know, your C wave usually is aggressive. I mean, I would give it a chance still, as it's still uptrending, right? But in a nutshell, we would be classing this as a 1-2, 1-2. Maybe if this is not the third wave, could we class another 1-2 and then we just break up here in the next coming days? And then we form 4-5, 4-5, right, to get above 116K. And we class this as an impulse. Something similar that happened here with a 3 down, 3 up, aggressive move down. Can we get this move? Can we get this move in the next coming days here? Absolutely. You know, there is a technical reason to believe that that could happen. Based on the structure that we've developed in the last 2 weeks. You got 3-wave up here and a 3-wave down. Yeah, a flat here is possible. So, you know, as mentioned yesterday, yesterday on the video update, I was like, I prefer the lows to be claimed, legends. Regardless, we either reverse from here or we claim the lows and reverse, or we actually, top here and come down and reverse later on. All those scenarios are looking for a reversal move. So if you are feeling a little bit aggressive, yeah, you do want to long here a speculative higher low potential yesterday. You had the chance. You just need to go in with low capital, low leverage, understanding the bearish momentum. We did have some bullish CVDs. They were not great. They were not insane, but we did have them. Let's see if this wants to load up here. But you did have some bullish CVDs recorded throughout Saturday and Sunday, which is what you want to see. On Bybit, you had lower lows here in the yellow, higher lows throughout Saturday and Sunday here, as you can see. On other exchanges, people were shorting throughout this move, and they didn't do a great job, right? Lots of shorts entering here on many exchanges, trying to push the price down, forming lower lows and higher lows on the CVD. So only CVD was giving you bullish CVD divergence throughout yesterday, Sunday, which was already a good sign for a potential higher low. Anybody that was feeling that, I believe that this is good, it's just big pump rounding off here to decide if you want to long in this area. Obviously, your invalidation would be this low for 1% of a move, right? Of course, yesterday, of course, a double 1-2 here was possible. Most commonly, the second 1-2 does take out the high here, but it's obviously still a possibility. So, here forming a higher low in between 50% and 7.8 for a speculative double 1-2. Was an option. We just ever so slightly got below 50%. So if you want a long DR speculative higher low, which we did have bullish CVD divergence, it's an option. You just need to realize that that's your invalidation for the double 1-2. So anybody that wanted to feel aggressive yesterday, you could have longed this area speculating on a 1-2, 1-2. Let's see if the price, gains that momentum, coming into Monday in that third wave, which is doing okay. It's doing an okay job. I wouldn't class this as a massive, great, big pump with high volume. We should be trading at 109K, with volume increasing, right, in the last 24 hours, which is not really the case for the moment, but you would have to give it a chance. Volume could kick in from here. Volume could kick in from this area. So for this bullish case, you know, if you did not long the higher low yesterday, I wouldn't get into a swing long here. You're coming up to some resistance. If you can manage risk and you have a plan and you are defensive getting into the corrections and you're going to protect yourself, then I would say, okay, you can attempt it, but be ready if this fails. Don't want anybody on a long position in this zone and then underwater with the possibility of coming down to the lows here, right? You just don't want to do it. Don't want to do it because, you know, you're late to get into this long unless you longed here throughout the weekend, right? Regardless if it was here on Friday or here throughout Sunday. So what if this is building multiple 1-2s? You know, that the best option is to hope that we are going to get another pullback, and the biggest level of support that we have is the daily open and the previous day value area high. You know, with these recent highs, right, that we formed throughout, you know, Friday and, well, this was Thursday actually, and this high that was formed on Friday. If you want to speculate on a triple 1-2, I mean, and this is, you know, it starts to become a little bit dangerous. This is why we would have to see some magic here. And by magic, I mean insane lower lows on the CVD. Incredible bullish CVD divergence, but incredible. And it looks like we're too far away and forming higher lows on the price action and lower lows on the CVD here. It would have to be insane short positions forming new lower lows throughout at least, you know, one or two Bybit and, you know, other exchanges as well, for me to consider that we are going to be forming a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, right? There has to be a lot of shorts entering the market to provide that liquidity to the upside. This is why, I mean, it could happen, guys. You just need to be ready for it. Will we bounce at the previous day value area high? Will we bounce at this resistance support flip? That's a pretty decent candle here on Friday. Can this 103.5k zone, which is previous day value area high area, this resistance support flip, to speculate on a triple 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then bang, throughout, you know, tomorrow, Wednesday, we get a solid breakout of, you know, $5,000-$6,000. We start ripping to the upside. It's definitely possible. You know, the thing is, to get into this long position, it's not going to be easy understanding the bearish outcome. So this really needs to hold, right? Similar to yesterday, if we were to come down to this range, it seriously needs to hold to speculate on a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then up. You need to form that nice, you know, round formation here and really hold this zone with incredible bullish CVD divergence, lower lows on CVD from this pivot low and higher lows on price action. That's the moment you would say, okay, we're holding. We got lots of shorts entering, which are not doing a great job of moving the price lower. And we're holding above the levels of support, resistance support flip, previous day value area high, which is sitting at that zone. And, you know, that would be the moment of decision eventually, right? If it's holding, you can long, right? Similar to yesterday. If the price were to come down to this zone and hold, and you got some bullish CVDs, you have a technical reason to believe a triple 1-2 here could be a scenario. If the price rips from here, you just let it go, right? You just let it go. But longing up here, just manage risk, right? If you start moving down, I don't know what I would do if I'm jumping into a long here. I don't know how I would handle this situation. You just don't long, right? Imagine that I enter along here. You know, am I putting a stop? Where is my target? You know, we could double top here. Am I putting my stop loss here? I mean, I don't know. You know, there's just no plan here. I mean, maybe if you would have longed this higher low in the last hour, you know, stop loss beneath this, you know, there's just no plan here. There's just no strategy. Yeah, it can end up well, of course. Oh, I longed here randomly and I'm in the green. Well, yeah, congrats. But, you know, do you have a proper, you know, strategy here? Where's your stop loss? You know, you need to go through all of these questions of why are you longing here? Well, because we're moving up. Well, where's your stop loss? Well, is it worth it? You know, you're literally targeting the highs. You do not know if you're going to break up here. So you get the point, right? You know, you need to remain patient. You need to remain patient, either for the shorting plan that was explained on the previous stream that got, you know, I cut it off. If you were to pump from here, guys, we just go higher. If volume increases, you just let it go. If you do not reject from one of the levels that have been explained, if you break above the naked point of control at 107.5 and you do not swing failure pattern from this lower high, one of the two levels, you let the price go. It's not worth anybody that's really bearish and believes that we're going to form a lower high to short, I'm adding to the short, and the price suddenly increases in volume here, because the risk of having 1 2 1 2 and developing a third wave is there. You know, volume might just be kicking in here. So if you do not reject from these pivots, which are your guidelines, which can give you that aggressive short entry with stop loss above the fake out to really roll back down later on throughout the next 24 to 48 hours, you just don't be underwater when you could be developing a third wave. We just don't really know. So, you know, waiting patiently for those levels, would be waiting patiently as well for a possibility of developing on the bullish case scenario, that fourth wave, to speculate on that ABC. We're forming a 1 2 3 4 and 5. Coming to the naked point of control of previous Monday, which is also sitting with that value area low from the consolidation that we formed in October, right? When we get the fixed volume profile of that range, that value area low is coming in where we have that naked point of control from last Monday. So, I mean, that's the guideline. We trade above it. I'm happy to see higher levels, you know, even the point of control of the range here at 111K. But this is the failed point. This is the failure point here. If we trade above it, you know, if you entered a position and you trade above it, you know, you just want to cut the losses, guys. Seriously, the strategy is you. It's better to cut off losses if you're breaking a major level than add to the position and it's going to roll over at some point. This does work well sometimes, but when it doesn't and the price decides to absolutely explode and go several $1,000s against you, that's when you get wrecked. Why do people get wrecked? It's because of this. They do not cut the position at a small loss and they're happy to leave it open at a loss and add to the position when the price is obviously trending locally to the upside and you don't know where it's going to stop. And unless it stops at one of these levels, will it stop at the point of control of the range? Well, you know, that's a good level for a rejection. There's no doubt about it. This is a decent swing failure pattern here from the lower high of Sunday, the 2nd of November at 111K. It's a decent swing failure pattern just because you got the point of control exactly where that lower high is. It's a decent scalp trade down to the VWAP, right? Depending where that session VWAP is coming into. We just don't know where it's going to stop. So this thing about adding to position, yeah, you are going to get a few right. right? It is adding to position. It is going to play out sometimes, but when it doesn't, you literally burn you know half of your account potentially if you don't be careful on how much you're adding, right? I've done it before. I talk about it a lot because I had my first 1 to 2 years even that I was doing this consistently. And I'm a very, very cautious and careful trader, you know, for the last few years now. But this is such a common thing by new traders. It's so common that 95% of the people do it. I did it. I know people do it consistently. People that I talk here as well. And seriously, trading is a level to level game. It's a level to level game. There's no more to it. You need to understand the bullish outcome. You need to understand the bearish outcome. You need to understand if you break a level that you are no longer interested in being in that short till you get to the next major level of interest. I would rather be not in that position, cut losses, and wait for the next big major level, which would be up here at 111k in this case, to tempt maybe the rejection. This is a good level for rejection. There's no doubt about it, based on the point of control and this lower high that we have from the previous weekend. So yeah, just some little tips here, guys. And I would treat this as a scalp down to the VWAP, right? There's just little tips there on why we would not want to enter and add to the position, guys. You know, it's just a bunch of bollocks. You get burned many times. Some of them will play out, but the ones that don't literally burn your account. So we don't want to trade like that, right? It's a level to level game. When I do the streams and the video updates, I talk about the bullish case. Yeah, we could do 1-2-1-2 and rip here in a third wave, volume kicking in and between today and tomorrow. If you break the levels, you don't want to be in the short. I realize the bearish case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, contracting diagonal. Absolutely. Where can it reject? Look no further. Value area low, naked point of control. That is my failure point to get into the short if we reject, to give the chance here to roll back down. Right? You can never just have, you can have a favorite scenario, but not just randomly blinded. I'm just bullish or I'm just bearish, right? It's a level to level game, guys, right? I know most of you watching the streams here understand that. Maybe the new people don't, but you know, obviously this is why you're here to understand. Anyway, that's a little bit of the plan here for Bitcoin. If this contracting diagonal were to come to fruition, the best opportunity, look no further, it is coming down to form that wave 5 in the next coming days, give or take 1 week or so, to literally look for that insane bounce, you know, again, right? And obviously, when you come down here, you would want to see kind of a 3-wave mover. Lower time frame, same thing. You want to spot that 5th wave on the 15-minute. Trying to speculate where that 5th wave could finish is coming down to that higher low of the 22nd of June or the 20-24-25 range point of control, which you need to close above one of these you know, horizontal levels. That's the guideline here to get into the long stop loss beneath the low of the recovery. And this would be a major swing. You know, I know that this is the opportunity if the price were to do this in the next coming days, ends up rolling down with a lower high. So this is why shorts at these levels, based on breaking it or faking it to the upside, is interesting. You want to be very, very careful understanding the bullish outcome. The bullish outcome is the low is in locally here, and we are coming all the way up in a flat structure, which you know, eventually we could be in that wave 3 develop. This was drawn a few days ago. based on a 1-2, 1-2 or a wave 1 and a corrective structure and then 3. Could this be the third wave development? You know, and maybe it is. You know, if we reject from the value area low and the naked point of control from last Monday, I'm going to get into the short. You know, I know where to put my stop loss, and I know where to attempt this short position if it were to form that contracting diagonal. I know how to, you know, I got a plan. I know what I'm looking for. I know how the price needs to react. And on the bullish case, well, you know, you're forming a 1-2, 1-2. Could you form another 1-2, which is the bullish scenario, which can be interesting for a long, guys. You just need to look at CVD. You need to look at proof of support here, which is literally coming down, right, to this area. I would be cautious because we are downtrending and this could be the corrective move. So if the price really rolls over very fast in this zone and loses the previous day value area high, you know, you literally don't want to lose this zone, right? You don't want, you want to see this as a resistance support flip and really hold this area in the next, you know, 1 to 2 days. Bullish CVD divergence. I mean, yesterday I would consider this as a bit of an aggressive long. The problem is here that, you know, your stop loss, your hard invalidation is down here, which gives you a little bit of a gap for stop loss. So you just need to be, you know, aware of that situation. But you had bullish CVD divergence yesterday, as explained. You did have lower lows throughout Bybit and the rest of exchanges and a higher low on the weekend here, which is giving you that potential of a 1-2, 1-2. Okay, it's holding. We got bullish CVDs. Let's attempt it. If you do get that correction down here in this zone and you form new bullish CVDs where you get lower lows, lots of shorts entering here very aggressively, and you do start holding the zone of support, which is this one that I explained, previous day value area high. You don't want to lose this pivot high successfully, so you want to, if you lose it, you want to reclaim it, get above the previous day value area high. Bullish CVDs, hold it, you know, for a couple of hours potentially. This is the 15-minute time frame. Bullish CVDs, lower lows on CVD, higher lows on price action. You're holding here. You can really speculate on that long position. Your invalidation here, look no further, is the last higher low. And you're giving a projection of a wave 3 breakout. You know, I would be targeting the highs first as a TP1, but with the potential of breaking out. And I do not know if this is gonna come down here, right? What if the price just continues moving up? I understand maybe that the third wave is getting developed right now. Maybe volume kicks in right now and we start pumping higher. But you don't want to get into a long here, right? You just don't want to. Price is reacting. There is a bit of resistance. If you come down and you hold these levels of support, previous day value area high, this pivot high, failing to move lower, and you form bullish CVDs and you're holding this range for a few hours, that's when you want to consider the long. Have good risk. This is your invalidation for the multiple 1-2 at 101. You're entering here just below 104K area if you hold. And the good thing about this, your TP1 is the highs, and you're looking for a possible wave 3 breakout that could really rip in the next coming days. So it's just an idea, really, right? Not saying that this is going to happen, but you know what you're looking for, right? You know what you're looking for. You're pulling back, you're holding, and you're forming bullish CVDs. What would be the bullish outcome? A triple 1-2 to then just break out in a wave 3 and then 4-5, 4-5 heading to $116,000 maybe. So yeah, you know, it becomes an interesting area if it does hold and forms bullish CVD divergence, right? It does become an interesting area for a triple 1-2 potential if you hold above the previous day value area high. If it were to come down in the next coming hours, right, give or take. You need a lot of information, bullish CVDs, proof of support, holding the level, 3-wave structure. Ultimately, you get that overlap from the last lower high here, confirming a three-wave move down. That will look corrective as soon as you claim that lower high here. If you move a three-waver here, that would be the ultimate confirmation. That's when you say, I would be happy to long in, to get into a long already just by claiming this high. I would put a stop loss at this low, believing that this is your wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? You're actually breaking out. This would be my invalidation if I were to enter up here after claiming this high, right? This one right over here. So it's really trying to understand how the waves are developed here. So yeah, that's a little bit it, guys. Okay, whoever longed throughout the weekend or yesterday, I would consider taking some profits purely based on the bearish case, right? We do have a bearish scenario. We're not moving up insanely aggressive. We are, getting a bit of a reaction here from the anchored VWAP, right? From this lower high. It is above it. We are trading above it. We got golden pocket from the last lower high here. Move. That's what's getting a resistance. You are reacting to this zone. Anybody that's longed, why not collect a bit of profits? You can always leave part of that position open just in case the bullish scenario does come to fruition. Oh my goodness, this happened again. There we go. My goodness, it wasn't up there in the end. There we go. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I'm looking for here. If you did long, I would consider scratching some profits. And I'm actually interested in the short based on the bearish case that I explained. Okay. The bearish case scenario is, we're going to take a look at some altcoins right now, guys. Give us a second. But just for people that are coming in, we kind of we're repeating through the different scenarios. Forming a wave 4 in a contracting diagonal could be something that's happening here. And I've explained on the 5-minute time frame what I need to see, right? This is not just some random YouTuber coming in here and saying, we're going to reject short now, stop loss here. It's literally going in detail on how the price needs to develop to consider that we are forming a three-wave move here to the upside, and that we are, maybe still developing the fourth wave or the third wave, right, of that C wave of this corrective structure. So yeah, I've explained a little bit already, also on the previous stream that got cut off, on how I want to see this. For me to trigger that short, we either reject at that point of control from last Monday. That's my guideline right there. Or, we form that larger fourth wave here, and either we miss that point of control, we front run it, local double top, literally looking for a completion of a 5-waver here to form a B, C wave. Okay, so remaining very, very patient here to see how the price develops in the next coming hours. And yeah, that's about it, guys. This is more locally. We have a bearish scenario, which is forming a lower high here before getting to $111,000, which would be your invalidation for that contracting diagonal. That would already not be contracting diagonal, and we would be looking for the flat structure here basically to come to fruition, right? Starting a new uptrend, which we could be already in the initial stages of the wave 3. Which is, I did draw this a few days ago, which is 1, 2. But your 1, 2s could be here already, right? And you're just going to start ripping in the next 1 to 2 days, and just no big major correction, just slowly grinding up. So all of the scenarios point out that, for a larger recovery here, to attempt to get to $116,000, either in this flat here or either in the contracting diagonal, which is claiming the lows again, and then look for the recovery. So the directional bias is to the upside, really. The overall question is, can we, claim the low again? And you know what is interesting about this contracting diagonal? It would still fit in nicely for the ABC flat, because inside of an ABC flat, you want to see in the C wave a 5-wave move to the downside, instead of this being the 5-waver, which we originally speculated on. Obviously looking for that contracting diagonal here to finish that ABC flat, and then maybe get an awesome recovery, right? However, if that doesn't come to fruition, and we already rally and take out these recent highs, this is going to be ultimately super bullish, guys. This is going to be, in my opinion, it could be super bullish, because you can label this as a wave 1, ABC flat wave 2, and then big pullback. There's no doubt in my mind that getting above 116k is going to be the rejection zone, right? Give or take, it might pump a couple of $1,000s, but we are looking for a reversal if the price does manage to come up here. And the bearish case scenario for this is forming, this as a wave 1, which does look pretty damn impulsive from the rejection of all-time high. It looks more as a 5-wave impulse, and obviously developing your wave 2 here before getting into that bear market, which gets above $116,000, but ultimately you're forming an ABC flat. This is possible, right? And everybody gets bullish again all the way up here, and it just ends up in a wave 2 in a flat, right? And we start rejecting it, into December very aggressively. I have to say, we will monitor how we get up there. We will take a look at how we get up there, but I prefer the WXY scenario, where you form, okay, you form your wave, your wave W here, wave X, and then wave Y. Let's just put this bigger, just so you can realize what is the speculation here on this price action, where you have the ABC flat right over here, boom, 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 flat to finish wave W. You get another flat here to finish your wave X, and then we're going to have to see what Y is going to be, right? This is where you actually analyze very carefully. The most obvious one would be a triangle, which that would be easy, right? I would like, okay guys, we got it. We got it. But the Y wave could be another flat and then move up. It could be a zigzag, because wave W has been a flat. So that means that wave Y can be a zigzag down, maybe even to claim the lows again. It's probably going to take a bit of time to figure out what's happening next, guys. But ultimately, what we can see is that we're looking for a reversal here, as explained yesterday and today as well. We're literally looking for a reversal throughout yesterday, claiming the lows or not claiming the lows. We are looking for that reversal. Everything points out that that breaking down from here based on the wave structure is just low probability, because if this was a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, you're looking for wave 4, and wave 5 you're looking for a reversal. If this is a 3-wave structure based on a flat, you're looking for a reversal. Everything pointed out that regardless if you claim the lows here or not, you're looking for that bounce. So that gives you the option of, okay, I'll enter with 1% of capital here throughout the weekend, and I will just manage risk. If we do come and claim the low and reclaim, then I'll just add to the position or get into a new position a bit heavier with 2-3% to speculate on that bounce, right? So the overall directional move here is to the upside, and it remains the same regardless if we form a lower high here. If we form a lower high, it still remains the same for the price to not break down successfully these lows that we formed last week at 99k. The technicals and the volume and basically the technical analysis doesn't give us the high probability option to break down successfully here. Yeah, you test it and move up, yes, right, where we got that contracting diagonal. But as explained, a multiple 1-2 here is just out of the cards, really, based on probabilities. Double 1-2 here is like, low probability. Your second wave 1 and 2 is extremely longer now than the first 1 and 2. That's not common at all. And obviously yesterday we talked about the potential above 4 and 5. We're looking for that bounce here regardless, which is kind of happening right throughout Sunday. So now we're just gonna add, whoever's in longs from lower, then congratulations. I would have preferred to go in heavy. I would have, my option to go in a heavy trade was claim the lows again, but we had that bullish scenario, which was the flat zigzag up, zigzag down. Is this a 1-2-1-2? And we're going to form that flat structure. Before you know it, we're getting to 116k in the next coming days. Well, that's where yesterday with the bullish CVDs, with that higher low speculation on a multiple 1-2, you need to take that action, right? If there is an option for it, you need to take it. For me, this is not to get in a heavy position. It's difficult to go in heavy here, right? Risk 3% of capital. Entering with 1% is always an option. If you have the risk of claiming the lows again, as explained yesterday. If you're long in here, your invalidation is here, and you need to go with 1%. You need to understand as a trader, right? It might just roll over. We're downtrending. I don't want to go in too big. So yeah, just a little bit of, how I've been seeing this throughout the last few days, getting that reversal. Whoever got in here with a small position or a large position, whatever, you are, in the profits. But looking for that bounce here was just very, very likely. We also had the 50 weekly moving average. And this is very, very typical where you're going to see it's like the bulls are going to kick in, right? Bulls don't want to close that 50 weekly moving average, that candlestick below the 50 weekly moving average, and they're going to do their best on a Sunday, right, to get that wick above it, which is what happened right throughout the last 24 hours, which was interesting to see. And on the lower time frames, the bullish scenario was forming that that flat structure here, which is probably getting developed, right? It's just, you never know. Let's pay attention to those resistance zones. The contracting diagonal is an option. I've explained how it has to be treated, how you can trade it, looking at the internal time frames. Will we form a 4 and a 5 here? Volume is not kicking in. Bulls are not doing an awesome job at the moment. So we need to realize that this is the failure point. It is the failure point at 107, 108k zone, 106 to 108, right? Give it a bit of a range. It is the point of failure. So, and the volume is not looking too convincing. So, if you tap one of these levels and do not break above it, you know how to plan this. You know how to get in. You reject, you enter the trade, stop loss at the highs. It has the potential to come back down to the lows. So, that's I'm always having problems in the studio. I never have problems at home. Never have problems. Let's go through the comment section. It's about time to take a look at a couple of cryptos, guys. I do have one ready. Flux is looking very interesting, which is coming down to a base. Yeah, that's connected already. I mean, this already bounced very, very nicely. Whoever got into ICP, I mean, the problem with this one, it already double topped. So I'm a little bit in doubt with Flux here. It is an awesome project. It did come down to the value area low point of control throughout the weekend, and it actually got an awesome bounce. We are back at the value area low. I'm a little bit in doubt about Flux here, because what happened is that we already bounced from that range, value area low, point of control on the weekend, on Saturday. And your target zone is the highs again, right? So this is very similar to ICP, which ICP got the swing failure pattern from the range of 2025, came back down to the point of control value area low. I mean, it already happened on Flux, unfortunately. Move up, down, support, bam, wick the highs again. That is your trade. Right now we're coming back down, and what I would consider on Flux is you do not want to lose that fair value gap. I would love the price to come down and test it, which I would just remain patient, guys. If it bounces from here, I would say so be it. But if you claim the highs of the pump, you want to claim the higher lows of the rejection to maybe then get the bounce. So, I mean, we're coming very close to it. I mean, we're coming down. It's 16.5 cents. Look no further. You lose that fair value gap. Holy smokes! You know, we ain't got too much support here. This needs to get back above that higher low. It needs to swing failure pattern or create a failed auction from that low. It's a very, very good option to get in for a possible big recovery on Flux. You know, it might even, come all the way up to the highs in the next coming days. This is your decision zone. And hear me out here. If you lose this, we're coming down. We're coming down big time. But if you don't, it has the potential to recover back up. And I know you might think, come on, it's bear market. Who's going to long this? I mean, the ICP long was absolutely awesome. And, it did very, very well. You need to give it a shot. It's simple. It's easy. You know where to enter. You know where you're targeting. And, stop loss would be below the failed breakdown from this fair value gap. I wouldn't go too crazy with leverage. It's an awesome move. It's almost a 10-to-1 risk to reward, right? Depending on your entry. But it would be nice to get down there, create that wick. And if you lose it, you just don't want to long anywhere in this zone. This has the potential to retrace the entire pump. So it's dangerous to be in any longs here. But if you react here throughout the next coming hours after testing those lows, I would give it a chance to get an entry. Because, you still have, you're technically trading beneath the value area low, but, it is doing something. It is providing some kind of support, at least on Saturday. So, is your best option. If you lose it, you don't want to get into the trade. Where you're longing is on the reclaim of the higher low of that inefficiency, right? Of the fair value gap. If you lose it suddenly out of nowhere and you collapse, you don't want to long. You need that reclaim. You need the reclaim here to consider the recovery, right? Sweep up the highs of the pump, sweep up the lows of the higher lows of the pump, and give it a chance. So let's see what happens here on Flux. We're not that far away from coming down there. So it's an interesting take. ICP got the rally. ICP got an awesome pump. It's done pretty good. ICP's done pretty damn good. It is retracing right now. I did sell a little bit of ICP spot, guys. I had to, right? we cannot trust where we currently at in the market. Would be, I do have a moon bag. Average entry price from 2025. You guys know, anybody that's following the channel does know that I've literally accumulated ICP at this zone, and I just protected my investment based on the pump that we had in the last few days, guys. Getting to $8-9, man, I need to get my investment back, and then we'll have a moon bag, a free bag, basically, right? That's how I'm playing the game, guys. I want to be defensive ultimately with my capital, and then if we do get some gains in the next coming months, we go to $16-20, then bring it on, right? We have the bag. But lots of cryptos haven't been playing very nicely on this crypto bull run, right? Lots of people have been, are underwater based on spot positions, right? So ICP, I know some people were asking for ICP. XMR is bullish. Privacy coins, you know the deal. XMR, I've been bullish on XMR for many months, guys. I did know that it did get a pump in the last few days, but ICP, most crucial level, look no further. It is the value area high with the recent highs of the range that need to hold. We're literally talking about the $6 range needs to hold on ICP here. If you do get back down, it would just be a pump and dump, and it is what it is, right? But at least we had time to get out, make some profits. The day trade setup here was absolutely spectacular, guys. Whoever got into this trade that was mentioned on a live stream last week, holy smokes. I mean, this was the scenario. Long at the point of control, value area low, and claim the highs. Whoever maintained a bit of that long position last week, made some pretty decent profits. This went up 100% in a matter of a few days. So whoever got into that trade that was mentioned on a live stream, was very, very good. Let's XMR. Somebody talking about XMR. XMR has been pumping. I'm not sure what it's doing right now. It is retracing, but ultimately XMR, bit of a swing failure pattern from the highs. Not the best looking scenario on XMR right here after this wick from the highs created in May. So yeah, the target zone is those highs. You realize that this price action is bullish throughout the last few months because you form a three-wave down. As soon as you get this pump, coming to the territory of this lower high, this is bullish. The chances here of a double 1-2 are very, very low. If you get this second wave 2 coming to the end of the, first 1-2 right there. There was corrective. The correction confirms with this price action. Well, confirms, it gives you just a high probability, right? When you form a three-waver and then the bounce comes to the lower high, it's just that's bullish. You're likely going to claim this high at some point, which is what happened. Yeah, swing failure pattern, closing a daily candle here beneath those highs. Not looking great short term on XMR, I have to say. Not looking great short term. We could pull back down to lower prices here without a doubt. Where do we have the point of control here? Yeah, I would say unless we're going to consolidate here in the next coming days and form a very, very corrective structure, I would not be interested in XMR. The zone of interest would be the base here, where we got rejected throughout the last few months at $350 or $360 zone. Value area high of this trading area. But we're creating a bit of a swing failure pattern here, so it's not looking extremely great. Let's go through the comment section, see if we get some cryptos. Stop spamming, my bad. Yeah, I forgot to put the timer here because it's the second stream. Hey, what about XVG? XVG, we can take a look at that. I'm afraid you are right. What's going on? Render. I think did Render get a pump? RNDR. Render. Gemini. These are the exchanges? Oh, Render's still very, very low. Damn, Render, my man. I remember this was so hyped in 2024. My goodness. I hope nobody got in here on the AI major project. I know major channels were talking about this, that this was going to go to $20, $30. Not a good idea if you bought render in 2024, right? But now it's probably looking a little bit more interesting to accumulate if you believe in this project. But still downtrending heavily. You're not reclaiming any major zones. I mean, on the lower time frame, you're kind of breaking the structure. I do get that. But yeah, it is breaking the local downtrend, forming a, breaking the local structure. Lower lows, lower highs. You got a higher high right there. Higher low here is an option without a doubt for render. It is already reacting from the last lower high as a back test. Not looking too bad for a potential recovery in the next coming weeks. There is a structure breakout from the downtrend of October. So Say is building up. Say is an interesting one. There's no doubt. Say, we do know that Say is an awesome project. Could it be building up? Oof, it's still struggling, still downtrending, still forming lower highs here. Could it be building up for the breakout in the next coming weeks? Beautiful swing failure pattern from this higher low that was formed in June of 2025. Anybody that got into that failed auction from that major pivot higher low in the last few days, doing a good job at the moment. But it's still heavily downtrending. Yeah, I mean, this would have been the option to get in here. Right now on render. Yeah, I'm not too interesting here where it is at the moment. Let's take a look here at the comment section. Guys, remember, if you are interested in trading, guys, you do have BTCC or Bluffin. BTCC, you can trade gold. You can trade stock market using crypto. Okay, you just need an email and a password to sign up. And there's up to $10,000 rewards, okay, on BTCC once you sign up with the link down below. Bluffin right now is with this insane campaign of 20% cashback on your initial deposit. Which is absolutely awesome, guys. Okay, which that obviously is used to increase your capital in trading. Claim that right away with the first link, guys, for Bluffin or BTCC. Just an email and password needed. Let's go right away through comment section and we can take a look at a few more cryptos. What is interesting, which is kind of bullish, is that we do have the, who's this guy? Anybody knows who this guy is? James Wynn. I'm all in. And I was worried about reading this. I'm all in. And I'm like, wow, that's, it would make sense, obviously, when everything's collapsed down so much in the last few weeks. But he's all in shorts. Okay. I've sold in my entire crypto portfolio. I mean, I'm not sure if you can believe these characters as well, right? Whatever they say might not be true, but I mean, he's been usually pretty transparent on the positions that he's been in, sharing screenshots. Well, I mean, they always can be modified, but excluding long-term spot, I will never sell, right? BTC, which is basically what most of us do. We maintain big BTC positions on spot, but literally, going short. Okay. I've deployed all stables 30% and thrown it all on top of my short positions. So the thing is, we've been seeing some major cryptos getting some decent pumps. There could be some short squeeze. It is dangerous to short, down here, right? It is depending on what cryptos he's shorting. I'm not sure which ones, but he's like all in on shorts. Which, why would you short at extreme fear? We've been seeing some awesome pumps, which are retracing down a lot. Don't get me wrong, guys. It could have been just a short squeeze. And we eventually shorting the big pumps. If you do create a big swing failure pattern, such as Flux here, you always want to try and get into the swing failure pattern, right? At major pivot highs, it's your only option. If you have a major higher time frame pivot lower high, it's your option to get into the short. And yeah, crypto is obviously crypto's been downtrending most of the crypto, right? You want to consider shorts on a swing failure pattern. If you get a local double one, yes. Longing right now could have been a short squeeze. On Flux, I have it clear, guys. That's the red box that I want it to hold. It might be hit in the next coming hours. I would consider, if you reclaim that level, right? I would consider a possible recovery on Flux. If you break it, I'm not interested in longing. I'm not going to long anywhere here. But I'm going to give it a chance to prove itself here as support. Because then you get the bounce out of nowhere and it's flying. And then should we long? Well, we should have longed on the reaction. So it's a plan. It's something ready. You do have the base. Let's see if it does hold. Let's see. Any other cryptos, legends? File, please. Yeah, well, I mean, unless we're getting a major pullback, which we are, which is good. Same scenario. I had the point of control with the value area on Filecoin as well. Look at this. Look how cheeky this is. Range highs after the fair value gap, guys. I mean, this is a strategy, really. Fair value gap. Fair value gap from the biggest move that we had moving down in 2025. Guess what? The first lower high provided the swing failure pattern here on Filecoin. Fair value gap, guys. This is always a decent level to enter a short. Always on a rejection. Can it claim that high? Is there a lot of shorts entering? And do we have the chance of a higher low to sweep up those shorts? Absolutely. Look no further. I think on Filecoin, I think we have it clear, guys. We do not want to lose that value area low point of control zone. I want the price to come down to this area. That's where I want the price of Filecoin to hold as support between $2.20 and $2.40. So, I mean, I want to see it come down to this zone. Then I would consider a small leverage, long position, and we can build it as soon as we get some proof of support. But yeah, give or take, I would give it a bit of room. But obviously, we're targeting the highs. And if you were to come back to the highs, as your TP1, we could get a big projection move up. So you don't need to go too crazy with max capital here. We don't know if it's going to hold. So, but there is a good chance that it could. Would give it a bit of a breather here for volatility. But we want to hold that value area low and point of control, just like ICP did a few days ago, which was the general long position plan. Right, ICP. It's the same strategy, literally, right? Where you're looking for ICP to hold that point of control, which we did a few days ago when we claimed that high to break out. You already should be exiting your positions if you longed that back test of the point of control and the value area low just a few days ago. And that's the same speculation than ICP. Sweep up the highs, big SFP from the recent highs, come back down to the biggest support zone. You don't want to lose this zone, and you're targeting the highs. This is literally the same thing for Filecoin. Yeah, you've swept the highs and you created a swing failure pattern, but now you're coming to the base. Will the base hold? Are you going to put something into risk? Manage risk accordingly, right? Don't go, people can go extremely crazy here. And if we lose the level, they're going to add to the position, no stop loss. And, this ends up going to crap. Manage risk. You don't want to long anywhere inside of this area. If you do not hold, stay out of the long. Don't add to position. This could go to zero. Who knows? Manage risk. But the potential of holding and coming and claiming the highs is there. You got a technical reason. Your risk management is what comes into play here. Right? Same as for ICP last week. It did come to fruition. It did play out. The bounce at the point of control did play out. Value area low, point of control. Will Filecoin play out? Will flux play out? We're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to see, if it does hold. That's where you manage risk. Let's go through comment section. Legends, I'm going to wrap it up. Hyperliquid 1112. Hyperliquid. Let's take a look at this one, because for the moment, this is the biggest decentralized exchange. 1112 here internally. I have to say, Hyperliquid is an absolute beast of a project, decentralized exchange, largest out there. What can we say? Let's see if this does want to load. I think US dollar tether, perpetual, and we will use Bybit. Yeah, this is the thing about. I think we talked about this one last week. Hyperliquid, point of control, if we reclaim it, I think it's a decent area to long. 1112, somebody saying in the comment section on Hyperliquid, we talked about the reclaim of this point of control last week, which is a good sign. This is why we have the red box, right? That red box was given on an analysis last week. And I think this could hold and get the bounce to claim the highs. Anybody that longed that, if they remember, of a stream last week, and that was literally that red box was the reclaim back test to claim the high. So 1112, yeah, is an option. Yeah, what can I say? You literally want to pull back a little bit more if you want to consider a long here. You preferably come to the base. You want to be cautious of the breakdown. Could this be a movement down? It's a ascending wedge. You break down. We've got lots of support, proven support, multiple 1-2. I would give it an option, because then if this goes, then it goes, and you don't want to FOMO long, right? So you're in validation here for the 1112, which is a good option. You reclaim the point of control. Obviously, the most lucrative long was this one that was shared last week. Your invalidation is the lows, right? It's a bit of a wide stop loss, but you would consider it as a bit of a swing trade to give it a bit of an option of a recovery. But, if you wanted to long a 1112 here, I would wait for the price to come down to the base, and your stop loss is literally that low. If you want to consider the momentum, the bullish structure of the last few days to maintain, hoping that you will get a breakout in a third wave here, right? Which is 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then 3. At some point, that actually breaks the highs successfully, and we pump 20, 30%. You need to give it an option. A bit of an ascending triangle scenario also could be possibly. You got 2 taps already. Could give it an option. Momentum is locally bullish. Your invalidation is the last high at low. If you lose that trend, then wouldn't be looking too great, right? Wouldn't be looking too great. So you need to give a bit of a rumor here. I would wait for more of a pullback. This is not enough to get into that long. So it is definitely an option. Point of control of this range of the last few weeks has held and reclaimed nicely. Whoever longed from lower, based on a stream that we've played last week on, literally talking about the long zone, then great. But I would say that this would be the next option, okay, to get that pullback at the golden pocket zone from this last leg to the upside. That would be your next level to consider a higher low on Hyperliquid. Let's go through the comment section. Staffer1, much love, my man. Thanks for joining the stream as always. Much love to you, brother. Chainlink, what's going on with Chainlink? ICP buy $7. What should I do? Liquidation is at 4.9. Yeah, 4.9. The thing about ICP, what should I do? We are pulling back here on ICP. It's very aggressive to long these shallow pullbacks when you've had an incredible pump. You need to come to a solid technical base, just like the one that we mentioned last week. you get the pump and you retrace down to the biggest level of support, that's where you want to consider the long. I have to say, you might be okay at liquidation 4.90, but you never know. It might not just get supported here. So it's just not the greatest zone to do anything on ICP, guys. It was last week. Last week was clear. Swing failure pattern, bounce at support here, point of control. We're going to give it a chance to break the highs. Right now, it's a bit dangerous. It's been a bit of a short, squeezy pump. It's too fast, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm not too interested in doing anything on ICP here. You know, I've scaled out slightly on spot bag just to stay safe, and long trades were here. Long in here is at the value area high, and these highs, I just wouldn't take the shot, right? What if this has been a short squeeze and we're just going to start losing it here? I want to believe that that's not going to happen, but yeah, it's just we don't have any good solid longs. The long was last week here. That was an epic long. But now it is moving down pretty aggressively. Let's take Fibonacci from this pivot low to the pivot high. I mean, yeah, we could give it a shot. That this is such a big move that it could be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and now we're developing wave 4 here, right? That could look for that bounce at 50% Fibonacci, which is round about where we have the highs, round about $6.30. I mean, sure. I mean, this should turn into support. The resistance support flip should happen here at $6.30 for ICP. But if we start losing that zone without reclaiming, right, or forming a consolidation proof of support, you never know how low we can go, right? Point of control would be next. Anything beneath this area, yeah, just not an easy zone right now to do anything. Helpful analysis, Andy. Much love. Joseph Wood, much love to you. Anyway, keep spamming. Go ahead, says Stafford. Yeah, stay cautious with the spamming, guys. You will get blocked. Yeah, fourth wave just analyzed roughly wrote be enough. Yeah, we could be in a fourth wave as explained, right? Somebody commenting on that. We could be in a fourth wave. This is why 50% needs to hold. If we are considering from the low of the liquidation event, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, and this is your wave 4 getting developed, we get one more pump in the next 1 to 2 weeks. We would be looking for that 50% Fibonacci with the recent resistance zone at $6.30 to hold as support. Bit of volatility here is fine, but you literally don't want to lose this area successfully to consider a recovery. If we lose this zone, then yeah, I would not battle, guys, against a major dump. Proof of support, hold the zone. So yeah, not much more has to be said, guys. I'm going to wrap it up, okay? Thank you very much for joining today's stream. Sorry about the inconvenience from the previous stream. And yeah, thank you very much for joining, okay? Bitcoin, we know what we are looking for, okay? Bitcoin is what I want to trade. ICP, the other cryptos are looking interesting. Filecoin, as explained, Filecoin looks interesting here down at this zone. That's where we have all of the confluence. Point of control, value area low, wants to hold for Filecoin. Anything traded beneath this zone, this red box, I'm not interested. I will take a shot on this. Also, Flux, guys. Flux coin, this one's looking pretty good to get that bounce only if we test those lows. I'm going to remain patient. If we bounce from here, have to say, so be it. But I want to see that sweep of this higher low. That's what I want to see to get into the long trigger. Stop loss beneath the low, give it a bit of room, and ultimate recovery possibly. But I want that sweep of the higher low. Let's see if we do get it. I got alert set. So that's a little bit of the option on a few of these altcoins to, we wait for a pullback. If we want to enter that potential continuation to the upside. Whoever shorted these swing failure patterns, absolutely awesome. They are an option. They are an option eventually. When you get such an aggressive move up in a wick, it always gives you a short option. Double tops also an option on the lower time frame. Whoever shorted here, congratulations. This is your TP zone, and it's time to speculate on that long. If we do hold this zone, if we don't hold it, then I would not be in any long positions. Legends, thank you very much for joining. Make sure to destroy the like button. Let's see if we can get to 200 likes. Thank you very much for today. Bitcoin is on the previous stream. Okay, we did a stream later on and the first 20-30 minutes of this stream is also where we cover Bitcoin, okay, on the different scenarios that could come to fruition. Thank you, legends. Smash up the like button. Let's get to 200. If you're new to the channel, welcome, and I'll see you in the next one.